Hello, and welcome to From the EBPL Archives, Encore presentations from the East Brunswick Public Library. I am your host, Melissa Hosick. Good evening, everyone. My name is Melissa Hosick, and I'm the Adult Programming Librarian at the East Brunswick Public Library. Thank you for coming out to our program this evening with local author Geeta Gwalani. We let you know that we actually do have a copy of her book in the library catalog, so you can check it out, but hopefully you'll be inspired to maybe get one for yourself. So Geeta Gwalani is a keen food, art, and lifestyle enthusiast. That's a lot of things. While cooking is her passion, she also has a very keen sense for aesthetics and in creating beautiful and functional living spaces. Her discerning eye reflects in the recipe pictures, which have been styled in a very charming way in her cookbook, Aromas of Sindh. Thank you, Geeta, and welcome.
Thank you so much, Melissa, for this opportunity. Thank you to those that have joined this session today. I have written this book and published it late last year, and I'm very, very happy and delighted to have been given this opportunity and very happy to share both the history very briefly, the history of Sindh, the Sindhis, and then a little more about the cuisine itself. And then also some of my upcoming endeavors. So thank you once again. Perhaps we could, if okay with all of you, keep questions for at the end of the presentation. I have a very brief presentation, a couple of videos, and we could then take questions. So welcome and thank you once again. So let me spend a very little time on the origin and some history about Sindhis, where we come from, what has actually influenced our cuisine, and also a bit about the history within India and outside. Of course, Sindhi cuisine is a micro cuisine of India. India being such a diverse big nation with so many micro cuisines. So very quickly, the origin of the Sindhis and the Sindhi community would be attributed to the Indus Valley civilization. Indus is the English word for the river Sindhu. And the civilization that settled around and along the river Sindhu is called the Indus Valley civilization. The partition which happened between India and Pakistan saw the exodus of the Sindhis from Pakistan into India. And very briefly, some amount of history I do have in a small, very short video, which I will share shortly. But a lot of this kind of influenced the Sindhi culture itself, and therefore the Sindhi cuisine. You will see a lot of local produce that we incorporate in the cuisine from where we've gone and settled. So with that, let me take a minute to share a small video on the history and origin of Sindhis. I'm sorry.
Sindh is the geographical name for a province in modern Pakistan. People from Sindh have historically traveled and worked all across the subcontinent even before the British Raj. But it was the exodus that followed the partition when large numbers traveled to India and settled. Just like that, suddenly, after calling Sindh their home for millennia, they were forced to leave with whatever little they could pack and make modern India their new home. The name Sindhi comes from this geographical history. Genetically, Indian Sindhis are closer to people from Baluchistan or the northwest frontier province than they are to people from perhaps Bengal or Kerala. Most Indian Sindhis are second to fourth generation, depending on their age. The initial lot that came by sea settled in either Gujarat or in Bombay. Those who came by road went to Jaipur, and those who came by train settled in Ajmer. And till today, these cities have the largest pockets of the community. In the 70 odd years since our independence, they've gone from being broke refugees to the biggest names in real estate, media, and education. But Sindh's contribution to our country has a historical significance that everyone should know. India's very name comes from the Indus River, which is the English or anglicized way of pronouncing the Sindhu River. India, Indus, Sindhu are all the same. The Persians and Mughals converted the word Sindhu to Hindu. The Greeks converted that to Indos. So from Sindh and Sindhu, we get Hindu, Hindustan, Hindi, India, and India.
So that was very briefly the origin of Sindhi and the Sindhi community. Let me move on to a little bit about me. So I was born in India. I grew up in India. I come from, of course, the Sindhi family. We were a joint family, and I have been exposed to the Sindhi culture, traditions, and of course, food was really at the center of it all. So my book is very much influenced by what I saw when I was growing up, the cuisine that my mother made and passed down to us. This is all what is a part of Aromas of Sindh. It's a book very close to my heart. I'm sure most of the Sindhis and even the non-Sindhis will definitely relate to it. The stories about the cuisine, the story about each recipe is very, very centered and driven by experiences of childhood and memories around those. Of course, as you see the cuisine, as you read about it, you will also realize that because essentially Sindhis moved from their origin home in Pakistan to different places in India and outside, the cuisine is very much influenced by the local traditions and the local produce. You will be very surprised to also know that the Sindhi cuisine has its own version of macaroni. We make it as veggie. We kind of add tomatoes and potatoes and make it like a veggie to be eaten with bread or with roti. This is a very staple standard cuisine. So that tells you about how influenced the Sindhi cuisine has been by the local produce and the local traditions. It is also, of course, a tribute to my parents. My mother was designer and entrepreneur. In those days, it was very difficult and very, I would say, very unconventional for women to take up entrepreneurship. And a lot of what I am, a lot of what I have done through my book is all thanks to her. My father was lawyer, and I think the whole idea of ensuring that we knew, read, and wrote the language is something that I attribute entirely and completely to him. There are very few Sindhis today who can read and write the language, and I'm very proud that I'm one of those. Those of you who know about Sindhi will realize that it is a language where the script is very, very similar to Arabic and also written from right to left. And extremely delighted and happy that because of my father's persistence, all of us, that means my siblings and I, are able to read and write this beautiful language. The whole idea of putting together the book is to ensure that, I wouldn't say ensure, but to kind of keep the culture alive and also to keep the cuisine alive in our own kitchens. Given that Sindhis are spread all across the world, sometimes the culture we the continuity of culture, is something that all of us need to work on. And I think the book kind of puts together all of the possible recipes that there are in the Sindhi cuisine. I'm sure there are more, but these are 100 and more that I have personally seen and also, of course, tasted, and they're now made for the book. So let me dive into the book itself. There are 100 recipes, but actually there are more. There are 6 sections, and these are divided into the breakfast, main, side, snack, and sweet. All of these are 100 recipes, and then there are 7 bonus recipes. Though the Sindhi cuisine has such a variety of meat recipes too, being a strict vegetarian for so many years now, this particular book has all the vegetarian recipes. And it is really so surprising that we have such a vast, possibility of recipes and cuisines. And surprisingly, also, the number of desserts that are there in the Sindhi cuisine are absolutely amazing and absolutely wonderful, both to make and to taste. So that's briefly about the book. 100 vegetarian recipes and then another 7 bonus ones. So let me talk a little bit about being vegetarian. Like I said, the Sindhi cuisine abounds in meat options as well. But having been vegetarian for now decades, this is a cuisine which has so many options, so many ways in which we can combine the ingredients. We can combine, the kind of protein and come up with something which is both healthy and yummy on our tables every meal. Like I said, since the Sindhi cuisine is very much influenced by local produce, you will see that even our millets are influenced by the place where we live. For example, I grew up in Bombay, which is a big city actually in the state of Maharashtra. And the Maharashtra cuisine itself uses a number of millets, whether it is, I'm using the Indian words and, pardon me for that, but whether it is ragi or jawar, all of these millets are very local to the state. And we've incorporated those in our cuisine to give us flatbreads, to give us also a number of other sweets that we make from these millets. There are abundant sources of protein, abundant sources of vitamins, minerals, you name it. And I think the fact that we're able to incorporate a local produce makes our cuisine very healthy and also very tasty. There are, of course, many of the recipes which definitely, are high calorie, recipes, but I think all cuisines will have that. And we use those recipes for our festivals, for our celebrations, and generally, when we're having these big events. I must talk about the traditional styles that there are in the Sindhi cuisine. There are 2 very pronounced styles in the way we cook. The first is called sayal. Again, this is a Sindhi word, but essentially what it means is that we use the onion garlic base. And then we use different vegetables, different lentils in that base, and then cook that in that base. Those are very delightful, very tasty dishes, and that style is called sayal. We also have the fried or the sauteed variety. We use that so many times in our cuisine, and we, temper it with dry spice powders. And we also very much use the mango powder to give it that nice tangy taste. And that style is called taryal. You will also see in the Sindhi cuisine a lot of flatbreads, whether sweet or savory. We use so many of our flours, most often the wheat flour, but there are so many flours we use to bring together our flatbreads. These are called lolo. This is called also koki. These are both sweet and savory varieties. We use these for our breakfast, also lunch, sometimes brunch. And as you can see the pictures, often we use and eat the savory ones with a nice cup of tea. So those are the traditional styles. There are many others, but typically in a Sindhi family, you will see these styles being used for our cooking. Sorry. Here are some other pictures of some of our very, very loved recipes. The recipe that you see, or the picture that you see on the extreme right, this is made from gram flour. And again, the curry that you see is made from onions and tomatoes. The next one that you see, which is the green, this is our very famous lentil. This is called spinach and Bengal gram lentils. This is a much loved recipe, and I know that I make it in my house at least once a week, or at least once in 2 weeks. Extremely healthy. We also use dill leaves in this recipe, and it is enjoyed with rice. What you also see on the extreme left is okra, and this is something we make with the dry spice powders. All of these are, again, extremely healthy. What you also have there is ridge gourd. We use a number of gourds in our recipes, whether it's apple gourd or it is a ridge gourd or bitter gourd. All of these gourds are very close to the Sindhi style and Sindhi cuisine. What I have here now is a very small recipe. It's a video of one of our famous desserts. This dessert is called gheer, and we make this during the Festival of Colors. This festival is called Holi. It usually happens in the month of March or April, just when the winter season is coming to an end and spring is setting in. It's a lovely sweet, and it is often gifted to families, friends, relatives during this colorful celebration. So here we go. I had used this recipe when I launched my book. So the initial part of the video is about the launch. do try this recipe. It's really decadent, and you will love it. I've come towards the end of my presentation. Since the book has been released, there has been very good feedback about the book. I also had the opportunity to do a small show on the a KJ show on Indus TV. And this was shot at my house, and I did talk about the cuisine. We also made quite a few of the recipes that are in the book. The video is available on YouTube through the Indus TV channel and outside as well. It was a wonderful opportunity to actually, talk about the book, and also about the recipes that I was able to make before the shoot. There was also one of the recipes that I made live. And once again, the viewership, the feedback on the book is there, and it is very heartening. Recently, the book also won the Gold Award by the Nonfiction Authors Association. And what you see here is an honest feedback that has come from one of the judges, one of the reviewers of the book. And in many ways, it is I relate to this review of the book. The recipes in the book come straight from the heart. The recipe and the corresponding stories come straight from the heart. They talk about my own growing up years, and they're very personal, and kind of take you down the memory lane, and extremely nostalgic as well. So this is again, like I said, this book is very close to my heart, and I'm very happy with the love that it has received so far. What we've also done is we've put it up on our website. The website is called artandlifestyle.com. And I urge and request those of you who are on this call, and those who would be hearing this and also listening to this session eventually, to subscribe, contribute, and also send in your creations. Also, if you have any suggestions to popularize the cuisine, please do send in your suggestions. Do subscribe, and do kind of wait also for many updates that I will be making in terms of cuisines, in terms of recipes, both from the Sindhi cuisine and also outside. So do visit my website, and also do subscribe. Currently, I'm also working on an upcoming book, which will be all about desserts, and the desserts will use jaggery. I have been using jaggery in my desserts for a very long time, but I think before jaggery became fashionable, my father used to enjoy his cup of tea with a spoon of jaggery. And I think the fact that it is very healthy, and given that my entire family has sweet teeth, I'm very happy that there is a much more healthy alternative to sugar. And the upcoming book will talk about, of course, the benefits of jaggery, but all desserts, all recipes, even cakes, using this wonderful, glorious ingredient. So do encourage this book as well when it's released, as you will encourage Aromas of Sindh. With that, I do want to, of course, thank my family for their encouragement, support, and of course, tasting all of my food. My husband, Novanil, and my son, Ved, both have been extremely supportive, especially my husband, who's been, eating and tasting all of my food. And I'm grateful and really thankful for all the honest feedback and critique that I get from, my friends, family, and of course, my husband and son. With that, I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you for being a part of this journey. The Sindhi cuisine, the book itself, of course, as I have mentioned earlier, is something that has come from the heart. I really want to see this culture and this cuisine stay alive in our kitchens and in our lives for generations to come.
I actually have a question.
Yes.
Where is your favorite place to get spices or some of these like building blocks of things, and where would you locally get them? Obviously there's probably lots of great resources online, but for those who might not be able to do that, where would you recommend at least starting from?
I usually get the spices and some of the veggies that I don't see in, let's say, Stop and Shop or ShopRite, or any of the other stores. I usually get those from an Indian store, either Patel Brothers, or even a few others that are quite close by. But I think there are only very few of the veggies that we don't find in the Stop and Shop stores. Otherwise, the spices and the so-called the masalas, we do find them in those stores as well. But I would say yes. I mean, an Indian store would be an ideal place to find those veggies. For example, the gourds, the lotus roots, for example, which we use very much in our cuisine. Those are some of the things that are specialty ingredients, and we'll find them in an Indian store.
If you have any questions, you can unmute yourself or you can also type it in the chat. Also, in the chat, I have a link to the book on Amazon if you are inspired and want to completely purchase Geeta's book, I've put it there. I've also put a link to the copy of the book that we have at the East Brunswick Public Library. You can check that out with an EBPL or LMXAC library card. And it's actually checked out right now, so you'll have to wait for it for a few days. But well, it doesn't look like we seem to have any more questions, but Geeta, thank you so much for sharing your time. It's a beautiful images in the cookbook, and I can tell you that I'm personally extremely hungry, and I'm looking forward to being able to check the book out and try out some of these recipes and expand my culinary horizons. So thank you so much, and I hope that everyone has a great evening. Stay safe and stay well.
Thank you so much, Melissa, for the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for this week's Encore presentation. To join us for live programs or to learn more about the East Brunswick Public Library, visit our website at ebpl.org.